If happiness were a person, it would be a tricky one to pin down. Some days it's sitting on your shoulder, humming with you during a good shopping expedition. On other days it's gone, ghosting you after a long night of doom scrolling. We spend our lives chasing happiness. Through love, money, achievement, adventure, or sometimes just a decent cup of coffee. But when exactly are we happiest? And more importantly, what drives that happiness? Our next report tells you more.
Happiness has always been humanity's favorite riddle. The philosophers wrote about it. Poets tried to bottle it. And the rest of us, we chase it all our lives. Through promotions, relationships, holidays, and late-night online shopping carts. We treat happiness like a finish line, something waiting at the end of effort. But the truth is less dramatic and far more interesting. Happiness doesn't arrive one day. In fact, it evolves with us. Researchers from Germany and Switzerland tracked the emotional lives of over 460,000 people. What they found was fascinating. Happiness usually rises as we age, peaking around age 70. At 70, people report higher life satisfaction, fewer negative emotions, and a greater sense of peace. Not because they've won life, but because they've stopped keeping score. They care less about what others think. They have survived enough storms to stop fearing the rain. They know that time spent with people they love is time well spent. In short, happiness, it seems, is less about age and more about perspective. But before that peak, there's a dip, and a deep one. Around our 40s and 50s, happiness tends to bottom out. Psychologists call it the midlife trough. It's the emotional equivalent of being stuck in traffic on a hot day with no air conditioning. You've built a career, maybe a family, maybe a reputation, and yet something feels missing. Life feels like a series of obligations rather than adventures. It's not just a cliche. A Princeton study found that global happiness indeed follows a U-shaped curve. People are happiest in youth, hit a low in midlife, and climb back up again later on. Why? Because midlife is where all the pressures collide. But as we move past it, something interesting happens. We start to prioritize what matters. We stop running the race we never signed up for. And slowly, happiness returns, older, wiser, and far less dramatic than before. If we had to draw it on a timeline, here's how it goes. In our teens and 20s, happiness comes from novelty, like discovery, ambition, possibility. In our 30s and 40s, it's about achievement. That is building careers, families, and identities. In our 50s and 60s, it shifts to connection and reflection. By our 70s, it becomes wisdom. So what really drives happiness? Science says it's a mix of nature, nurture, and narrative. Genetics play a very key role. Around 40% of your baseline happiness is inherited. But the rest, that's entirely in your hands. Second on the list is relationships. Humans are social creatures. People with stable, warm connections report consistently higher happiness levels. Then there is purpose, gratitude, and health. All of them play a very crucial role. In fact, physical well-being and emotional resilience go hand in hand. And that is the lesson for us, humans. We love to romanticize the past. The carefree laughter of childhood, the electric optimism of our 20s, the quiet victories of our 30s. But studies suggest that our memory is selective. We often edit the highlights and skip the boredom, the anxiety, the small heartbreaks. But happiness isn't found in milestones or miracles, but in the in-between.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point. Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.